The train, for its type, is the most powerful vehicle on land. And the engines of Sodor are the power behind the docks, industries and branch lines that make up the world-renowned Northwestern Railway. These are the stories of Sodor. Every wise employer knows that if you want your business to be successful, you need to keep your workers happy and to listen to them when they have grievances. But it seems the owner of the Marston Heights coal mine, Franklin Merv, was oblivious to this tidbit of common sense, and on September 21st, 1938, his workers went on strike. Naturally, this was bad news for the island, especially since Mr. Merv was a notoriously stubborn man. Every meeting he held with union officials went nowhere. As a consequence, the strike dragged on for weeks, with some of the more irate workers taking matters into their own hands. However, the island was not completely without recourse and turned to the Mid-Sodor Railway to supply it with coal. But, despite the best efforts of its engines, who almost exclusively ran coal trains throughout this time, it just wasn't enough. Reserves began drying up across Sodor. Many trains had to be cancelled because there were no engines who could pull them. The situation reached crisis proportions when Sodor Electric said it would have to employ rolling blackouts as it didn't have enough fuel to keep its turbines running. That was when the island's council finally stepped in and arranged for coal shipments to be imported from the mainland. Kate handled these shipments and made deliveries all across the island. She would later say an upside to the strike was that she got to see so much more of Sodor, and wherever she went, she was greeted warmly, more so by some than others. So what's this book you be meaning to tell me about? It's called The Hobbit. It came out last year, and my driver's been raving about it ever since. Oh yeah, I heard about that one. Said to be pretty good. But what's a hobbit? Apparently, it's a little person who lives in a hole beneath the earth. This one's name is Bilbo Baggins, and he goes on this grand adventure with a group of dwarfs and a wizard to kill a dragon. Kill a dragon? That's a bit much for a so-called children's book, don't you think? A lot of children's books are like that when you think about it. You're certainly right there. My driver once told me about Little Red Riding Hood, and I couldn't believe what I was hearing. What kind of mother lets her daughter skip through the woods alone? And how can that same daughter not realize a wolf is impersonating her gran? Search me. But at the end of the day, I suppose it's all a bit of fun. I'll tell you what's not fun is me going more than a week without a washdown. I must look terrible. Rubbish! You look lovely. Really? You think so? Hello, Thomas. Hello, Kate. How are we on this bright and beautiful morning? Oh, Scarloey. Hello. What's the matter, Thomas? You've just saved him from an embarrassing situation. He has not. I've got nothing to be embarrassed about. Then answer this question. Do you really think I look lovely? I hope to hear your answer someday. Until then, have a good one, handsome. Smooth, Thomas. Real smooth. Sorry I didn't get here sooner. I doubt it would have made much difference. Does she know how you feel about her? Probably. Everyone else does. Then the best of luck to you, my friend. Thanks. Anyway, how are things going with you? Well enough, considering the repercussions of the Marston Heights situation. I know what you mean. All this fussing about with the coal is ridiculous. You never realise just how much you depend on something until it's gone. Very true. But I wasn't just talking about the coal. I meant that our little line may soon be experiencing its own strikes. What? Where? Up at Ben Glass for a start. There's talk going around the docks there. And over at the Boxford Ballast Mine, there have been suspicious happenings among the workers. I tell you what, Thomas, if either of those businesses stop trading, then we may as well close up shop altogether. Oh, that's rough, mate. Mr. Starr was right. Strikes are like lightning. You never know where they're going to hit. That was very true, and it came as an absolute shock when the dock workers at Knapford walked away from their jobs. With no one able to unload the ships, the harbour ground to a halt. Needless to say, we were absolutely frantic when this happened, as we lost the bulk of our goods traffic practically overnight. Furthermore, all shipping was redirected to Brendam. But our loss wasn't necessarily to the middies' gain. They were buried under the weight of so much work and struggled to keep up. This left them exhausted and irritable. And rather than risk having his engines go on strike, Mr. Zorro reached out to Mr. Starr for help. Before long, Medes and Nor'easters were once again working together, bustling up and down the branch and shunting trucks about the dockside. Of course, we weren't the only ones who had to work hard to keep the docks in order. 10 Cents had also been called in to help Drolan handle the many ships that were entering and leaving port. At first, they got along as well as the rest of us. But that, I'm sorry to say, would come to an abrupt end. Okay, you're all good. Welcome to Sodor. Valamogal. Cool. They certainly get inventive when naming ships. What is that? Phew, it probably sounds as made up as it looks. Ahoy! 10 Cents! What are you doing? Getting a suntan. What do you think I'm doing? I'm bringing in whatever this ship is called. First, it is pronounced Valamogulis. Second, you have brought her in to the wrong berth. The wrong berth? What are you on about? Schedule says she's for berth 4. Then why have you brought her in to berth 9? Berth 9? Are you serious? I am always serious when it comes to my work, 10 Cents. Oh, suffer in stacks. Sorry. Let's just get her out on the double. A naval tramper's meant to be docking here soon. There! Satisfied? Don't get snippy with me just because you made a mistake. If you had done a better job showing me around the place, I wouldn't have made that mistake. I doubt that very much. But it doesn't matter now. Head on over to the munitions factory and... Hold up! Where do you get off ordering me about? I am the senior-most tug in the harbour. I can delegate. Well, go delegate to some other scrub. I've got work to do elsewhere. Upstart wakewasher. Rusty old tub. What's going on over there? Sounds like 10 Cents and Drolan are having a bit of a row. Aye. It seems 10 Cents made a wee blunder with that ship over there. Why 10 Cents? Drolan could have easily made the mistake. Drolan doesn't make mistakes. Oh, so he's perfect? He's a problem solver, Percy. You mean like what he did to Bulstrode? I heard about that. Didn't the Coast Guard have to get involved? Aye. And that disagreeable hulk was taken away. Problem solved. So, smash them up or throw them aside. That's your solution to all problems, is it, Douglas? I must say, until I met you and Donald, I didn't think it was possible that twins could be so different from each other. Now don't you go mocking Donnie when he's not here to defend himself. I wasn't. Him, I like. And I'll be sure to tell him that next time I see him. Ark! The nerve of that obnoxious green caterpillar. Too right. I can't believe I was actually glad when the Nor'easters showed up to help. Me neither. But I guess we all make mistakes. I am perfectly capable of handling trucks, thank you, Lily. I wasn't saying you weren't. I'm just saying there are things you need to know about handling ones filled with china clay. Let me guess. Don't bump them too hard? It's not brain surgery. Fine. If you're so all-knowing, then don't listen to me. That was the plan. Oh, for goodness sake, Gordon. Get your coal and move along so someone else can top up. I'm an important engine. Important engines need plenty of coal, but I doubt if you'll understand that, Reginald. I'm surprised you do. Caw, you impudent wretch. Goodness me. How much more of this can we take? Then, later on, I heard Eric get into it with Peter. I think the MIDI saltiness is rubbing off on us.
Aye, it seems to be testing our patience.
Have you had a row with any of them?
Not as of yet. And a good thing too, as Colin is meant to be acting as my banker for this train. Where is he anyway?
He's not coming, Henry.
What? Why not?
He's been held up at the docks, so we'll have to carry on without him.
Are you joking? I'll burst a valve trying to haul this lot up the hill.
Well, there's not a whole lot we can do about it.
Percy, any chance you could help out?
Sorry, Henry, but I have to run a commuter train in 15 minutes.
Bother. I guess I'll have to pull a piston then.
No need, Henry. Hi there, fellas. How are you this evening? Duck! What are you doing here? You almost sound unhappy to see me, Percy. Of course I'm happy to see you. Just surprised.
Me too. When did you get here?
Earlier today. And I was quite surprised when I arrived at Knapford to find Edward and Toby were the only ones there. They then told me about your little arrangement with the middies. How's that going, by the way?
Very, very taxing.
I see. So, why are you here, Duck? It's because of the whole Wendell thing. The GWR's reputation and business relations with your group and the middies took a severe hit. So, I'm kind of here as a goodwill gesture, to help out wherever and whoever needs it. Looks like I arrived just in time in your case, Henry.
Aye, I could use a reliable engine to act as a banker. Just give me a push up the hill and that'll do it.
Tops! Let's get to it. Right, all coupled up and ready to go. Just a word of caution, Duck. This brake van's getting on in years, so take it easy. No worries. Thanks for the warning.
Are you ready back there?
Yes, I am. Let's go.
Good grief! This train is heavier than I thought.
Are you alright back there, Duck? Yeah, I'm fine. This is just really hard. Easy on the brake van, Duck. Yes, I'm... What was that? It sounded like... Oh no, I think the van's breaking up. Yeah, she's breaking up all right. Jump out! Great Scott!
What on earth? Duck, what's happening back there?
Henry, you won't believe this. I'm curious, Henry. Can you go a single day without getting into an accident?
That depends. Can you go a single day without being obnoxious and vile?
No.
Wait, what?
Didn't expect that, did you?
Bother!
You could be a bit more respectful, Diesel. We are helping you out after all.
Let's not pretend your motives are altruistic, James. You're only here because our director is paying yours.
And if your group could handle the work, your director wouldn't have begged ours for assistance. Oh, the sausage speaks.
What? That's it. I've had enough. I refuse to continue working alongside such slanderous scoundrels. I'm with you, Gordon. I'm not putting up with these mugs any longer. You coming, James?
Right behind you. Let's see how well you middies manage the docks without us.
We'll manage just fine.
That's right. Who needs you?
We do, you blithering imbeciles.
We do, sir?
Of course. The whole reason I had Mr. Starr loan his engines to us was so we could keep up with the deluge of shipping that's been pouring in.
Oh, right. Sorry, sir.
If it helps, sir, I heard the strike at Knapford could be over soon.
Could is far from certain, Adam. Even if it were to end tomorrow, we still need to be able to move today's cargo. I'm going to call Mr. Starr and hope he's still willing to work with us. And if he's not, sir, then you two can explain to the others why they'll be working back-to-back shifts until the work is done. Do I make myself clear?
Yes, sir.
Sometimes I wonder what I did in a previous life to deserve such incompetence. I'm very disappointed with you three.
For what possible reason?
For storming off like a bunch of children just because you got into a tiff with the middies.
What would you have done, Toby?
I would have asked them to stop. And if that didn't work, I would have ignored them. That would have been the sensible thing to do. But clearly good sense is something that is lost on you three. Sir, we won't. I don't want to hear it, Gordon. Let's not forget that the middies are paying us for our help. And so long as the strike at Knapford keeps going, we'll need every shilling we can get if we're to keep running. So we're to just suffer the middies' abuse, are we, sir? No, you're not. I'm going to speak to Mr. Zorro about that. I'm also going to tell him that you three will be returning to Brendam first thing tomorrow.
But, sir,
and any engine who complains will be handling garbage duty for the next month. Any objections? Good. Toby, give me a ride back to the station. Yes, sir. Honestly, I expected better from you three. Expected better? What? Like he's so perfect? Never mind him. What about Mr. Starr? Threatening us with garbage duty if we don't do what he says. I don't know about you two, but I'm sick of how he keeps barking orders at us like that. Oh, I'm with you there, Gordon. But there's not a whole lot we can do about it. Au contraire, James. There is something we can do about it. Where is Edward? He was supposed to be here 10 minutes ago. If he's not here soon, things could get ugly with the passengers. Sorry I'm late, sir. I got held up at the sheds. Held up at the sheds? Is that your way of saying you overslept, Edward? No, sir. I lost track of the time because I was trying to dissuade Gordon, Henry and James from a very unwise course of action. Oh, don't tell me. We're on strike, Mr. Starr. Of course you are. This is no joke, sir. Do you see anybody laughing, Gordon? What's the problem? Being forced to work alongside engines who mock us despite our help. Not being allowed to voice any objection to such an arrangement. And being threatened with menial work if we do speak up. I'm sorry.
Excuse me, sir? I'm sorry for that garbage duty remark I made yesterday. It was unprofessional. You have the right to voice your opinion. Were you expecting a fight, Gordon?
We all were, sir.
That's not the way I resolve business disputes. As for working with the middies, I was sincere when I said I would talk to Mr. Zorro about it. And I have. He has promised there will be no more insults from his crew. He and his engines are very grateful for the help we're providing. And going forward, I will refrain from using coercion to get you to obey my orders.
Thank you very much, sir. We greatly appreciate that.
All right. Now that's all settled. Would you three kindly make your way over to Brendam? I'm sure the middies are desperate for your help.
And they most certainly were. When Gordon, Henry, and James arrived, they found Brendam in a state of disarray. Cargo lay on the quays, ships and passengers were delayed. Everyone was complaining about the shoddy state of Mr. Zorro's operations. When Gordon, Henry, and James arrived, they were practically greeted as heroes. Working together once again, the docks were quickly put back in order. This time, there wasn't a single antagonistic word between us engines. All the same, when the strike ended back at Knapford, we nor'easters couldn't get back there fast enough. And a week later, Marston Heights was also back in business. Duck was invaluable in the days that followed the mine's reopening, delivering the coal wherever it was needed. I'm pleased to say that nobody gave him grief over his accident on Gordon's Hill. And I mean nobody. However, I am sorry to say that there were serious and unexpected consequences to that accident. But that is a story for another day.